Why, hello everybody, it's Joycelina and we are back here on the Just Vanilla server, and I'm just going to say I called it. I called it way back when we were doing the Nether Tunnel, well, like 3 episodes ago, was it? And I said, oh look, I'm finishing up my Nether Tunnel, and you know what that means? As soon as I get done, we're going to reset the server. Well, today was the day of the final day of voting, and by from a 5-1 margin, the let's restart the server won. So some things I will have to keep in mind. Well, all of this goes away. I don't have Schematica downloaded. I've never used it, so I don't have a way of retrieving any of my builds. But I have videos of everything I've done. So that's really all I need, is to be able to go back and take a look and see what it is I built. And that's what I wanted this episode to be. So now that we're going to be saying goodbye, I thought we'd kind of take a little stroll down memory lane and take a look at what we've accomplished. But one of the things I'm going to think about for the next time is that I need to do more and be more consistent. So I especially once I got busy, I was not on the server as much, as much as I would have liked. And so a lot of stuff didn't get done that I was hoping to do. So I kind of probably have to have a mindset of what do I want to accomplish within a year. I can't believe it took me a year to do all this, but it did. It did. We started here with the farmhouse. Now, I had tried several different designs, and I wanted to go for something that maybe looked a little bit more Tudor, but it looked way too more contemporary, traditional. So we went for this look, and I actually love how it turned out. I'm really satisfied with the look of it. I like the look of it from this vantage point, and I love the look of it from the front as well. It kind of has like a miniature castle feel to it, which I am really pleased with. I've not tried this style before with the different types of blocks, with the way that I utilized the stairs as windows. So all of that was new to my building, and so I think what you see here is I tried several different styles out. So next time I think I need to pick something and be a little bit more consistent with it. But then it's also hard to do that and not be boring. So we'll see what that entails. I finally got the front of the interior designed after ages. I mean, I think I only did this maybe a month ago, month and a half at the most, but just didn't do a whole lot. It's not very detailed, but at least I got a little something. My own bedroom. I am the only one on the server, so when it comes nighttime, I can sleep the night away. Yoo-hoo! We never did finish your home. It was one of the last projects we've been working on. So they're still stuck in their little pen over there. We did move the chickens out. That did get accomplished. But we made this little farm area over here. This was initially going to be just for me to build up my stockpile. And eventually, over here, we were going to put the melon farm on this side and have its own separate farmhouse for the melon and the pumpkins. So that this was going to be all of the vegetable farms and the wheat, and then this was going to be the melons and pumpkins, and we were going to build something, the automated kind of pumpkin farms and melon farms down far below. That was the goal, never got to that one. Over here, I wanted to utilize kind of a lake area that was here. We had to make it larger because it just wasn't big enough. But we wanted to utilize this as the area for our AFK fishing farm. So this sat out in the open for a very long time, and then I finally enclosed it. But I still feel that the AFK fishing farm is one of the first things I'm going to put in place in my next world, because it's really vital. I mean, that's where you get a lot. I get all my mending books. You can get food that you might need fairly quickly. And there's just some other things that are very helpful to have early game that you can get from AFK fishing early on. And especially I think it's the books and being able to enchant items with exactly what you want to enchant when you don't have 152 levels to your name, because you never die anymore, because your place is all lit up, etc., etc. So Yeah, so that's going to be something early on. But this was the fish market. I finally figured out a method of being able to create this where he can be visible and not be attackable. So you're not going to be attacked by any zombies or baby zombies. I kept you safe. I'm going to miss you, village idiot. You were my favorite character of all the characters here. I hope you feel the same about me. And then inside here, so we made this farm, and down below is where all the goodies are stored. I have lots and lots of books and fishing poles and all this other stuff. Fish for days, man. Fish for days. Yeah, so I'll never go hungry. Down here, I finally made a hole. It took me I don't know why it took me so long for me to finally put ladders. But we have a few fellas. Clearly I was getting emeralds from you and from the Fletcher. Yep. So that I could use it on this guy. But then his enchant was like useless. Okay, what was your first one? Your first book was a mending book. Oh, that's right. That's what I was going to keep you because it was mending at 14 and that was fabulous. But I just didn't have the emeralds and I didn't have the whole system of folks, villagers, and I never did get around to that. So I might next time. I might actually do the trade house thing with the villagers. And so that was my fishing hut. Over here, when I finally separated the chickens out, they got their own spot. And lately I had to put some sheep in here because I needed gray wool. So some sheep are in here. Hello, how are you? But I loved the design for their hut, their chicken coop, I should say is what it's called. This was going to be a little farmer's house, and we can come in here and sleep in a second. So this is very small. It doesn't seem small on the outside. It seems like a normal size, like size-wise, this would be the size of a small house. If you, whoa, man, let me in. Good grief. Can I sleep yet? Can I sleep yet? No. But from a perspective of the size of my person, this is a nice little quaint starter home, and I really like how it turned out. It has everything you need for crafting, furnishing, a little storage, a bed. Can I use the bed yet? Yay! This is the best thing about being the only person on the server is I can sleep through the night. So that was great. And then we have hidden, when we go in here, if you'll recall, hidden down here is, whoops, the chicken machine that I never did use. We have some eggs. It says love her up for eggs. But I never AFK'd here, so I never got a bunch of chicken. And all the chicken I got, I actually got just from voting. So it ended up not even needing that. And that might be something next time that I just forgo completely. I don't need you guys. I got all the chicken I need from voting. Chicken and beef. So the thing about the beef is at least I need the whatchamacallit, the leather. And then, what did I do? I don't think I did this yet. We'll go back into the house. My next step was to go exploring down below, underneath. So I had made this stairway, I think early on. It was very narrow. Coming down here, this is where my mine was. And eventually we cleaned it all up, put down some stairs, made sure there wasn't room for bonking my head, because you know how much I hate bonking my head. Came down here. This was for making cement. So you put the concrete in, and then it gets wet, and so then it becomes hardened concrete. And so that's how we did that. And this is where I had my original set of mines. And then this room was for putting in a mushroom, and so it's big enough that you can grow mushrooms down here. Grow the enlarged ones. So if you use the bone meal on them. And then I eventually cleared a lot of this out. But over here, I had found a mine way down here, and I found some, because there was a mine, I found some skelly farms. Oh, can you tell? On the other side here, somewhere around here, is where I'm growing mushrooms. Apparently, they've grown quite far. And so we found the spider, whatchamacallit, the spider spawner for poisonous spiders that I have no interest in. But it was one way of getting string and for the wool that I needed and getting other things. And so I created that. There was a chest in there for the longest time. And I went through and took out a lot of the wood from the mining area. Cleared it out. Definitely did a fair share of clearing stuff out. Yeah. I spent hours upon hours, and you didn't really get to go with me. I did this all off camera, but yeah, that's where I got quite a bit of resources. All the oak and fences I ever need. And this is how I'd have to tell myself, like, it would be so easy to get lost. Like, how do I get home? I don't remember. But yeah, this was quite the adventure. Oh, and apparently I didn't completely light things up because you just heard a zombie back there. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then through all this process, I found the skeleton spawner as well. And I don't know if you remember all the way back, but creating my skeleton spawner. So the interior of the skeleton spawner looks just like this. And then they come through and they get killed. And I haven't brought you in really since I did that. Here, I gotta eat again. But I ended up just putting this really quickly so that when I get all the bows, I can stick them in there. And when I get any iron items, I can, excuse me, not iron, the golden armor, I can put that in there. I don't think there's any in here, right? And this was all the storage for that. This was there for any combining that I might want to do. So this would be a way of, if I AFK'd long enough, I could get a fair amount of gold. And so this tells you how much time I did not spend here. I mean, I did get these filled up. And I got these filled up to about here, and this filled up to the third one. But had I spent a ton of time here, I would have had a lot more gold and other things. Because you can tell, they have gold stuff all the time. There we go. So, anyway, that was my skeleton spawner, and that is how I have 152 levels. Trying to get my gear and come down here. This is where I would grind to recharge all of my stuff when that had mending on it. So when it needed fixing, this is where I came. So I did spend a lot of time down here all by my little lonesome. Did not bring you along. This was my storage area, and we were going to expand on that as needed. So I had pretty much filled things up. Got some shulkers as well. This was the initial area that I had developed, and this is where my enchanting was. So I could come and enchant books, but really, with all the AFK fishing, I didn't have to do that. So most of my gear, I think, probably was enchanted using books that I got from AFK fishing. So I don't know. Again, it's like, do you really need to have an enchanting table and all of that set up? Maybe not. And then we decided to work on the Nether Tunnel. And the plan for the Nether Tunnel was going to use a lot of green cement and green glass, which meant I was going to need a lot of cactus. And so I built this, what I thought, I mean, I still think, but at the time I thought it was a very large conservatory. Well, this isn't large at all. So I really am going to have to rethink scale for my next, for when we go to the next, next server. So when the server restarts, I should say. Let's close the doors there. So the top of this was just the cactus being able to be seen through the glass. I love the dome in the center with the glass, the iron bars, and the sea lanterns for lighting. The sea lanterns work great in here for the lighting, which I really appreciate. And then this had the stairway down where we had quite the extensive work. I think this was probably the biggest project I did of all. I don't know that it was the most time consuming, but as far as scale, this was what I mean by scale. And this is more appropriate to the type of scale of things that we need to do. Was the Cactus Farm. And to have the Cactus Farm on 3 sides, we couldn't do 4th, but on these 3 sides, I really like how this looks, and this is exactly what I needed. Gave me more cactus than I would ever need to use. I mean, we have cactus coming out our ears. And that reminds me, so we could only do 3 sides instead of 4. Oh, remember, and okay, and I'm going to use stairs less and ladders more for going down deep. I may even have somebody who's really gifted in the art of redstone teach me how to do some of these elevators that can be used. That would be really fun. The reason we can only do 3 out of 4 sides is we had utilized this over here. This was our mine shaft. So I had my interior one that I used personally, but this was the one that was supposed to be for the city, and we created our own mine shaft. Look, accident free for 12 days. Different types of armor, and this was a lot of fun building and trying to do something new with the walls, give the idea, the sense that this was a created mine, almost like what you would see a dwarven mine. And I don't know where my sounds went. I can't hear this going anymore. My game sounds. Oh, there they go. You are the stealth cart. I can't hear you. I'm going to whack you and see if I can make you make sound again. Ha! Okay, so if I put you back on, let's combine you. And set you on again. Now do I hear you? Go. Ah, there you go. Okay, now I can hear. That was weird. The ghost cart. So we made a little area where they would come and do some smelting. This was supposed to lead down farther, but I did have to close that off in order to do the Cactus Farm. So this did originally extend even farther. So I really liked this little area. Kind of gave the idea that this was a vibrant, active city, and having the carts going all the time. This was like an area where they were dropping off all the ores prior to being taken up, as well as the ore storage out here. I just love the little look of it and how it turned out. Really, really pleased. Oh, looks like the sun's going down. Let's get back to bed. Come on, go, go, go. I feel like running. It doesn't even feel like running anymore. My sprint doesn't seem fast enough. Let's go in and sleep. And I can't sleep yet. And I loved the creek here. Was not originally here. There was like a little bit of water, but I think this was all, I think I made this whole thing. So I had it come from all the way here, come running through, right, because there was just the lake over there, the little pond. And I love the sound of running water. I know it might be annoying to some people, but I love having that sound there. Oh, okay. The sun's down far enough. I should be able to get some rest. And again, I love not having to worry about the darkness. When I was working over at the cattle farm, I kept turning around all the time, just waiting for something to spawn behind me. One thing we never did get through is our pathways through here, but we did start the roads. Once we did the nether portal, we did the 4 roads, or at least 3 of the 4 roads as far as what direction they were going to go. We ended up linking these up once I finished the dragon. Now this was the most time-consuming thing I have ever made, was the dragon. Oh, but before we made the dragon, we made the little hut over here where the chickens are. And the nice little area in here. Did I already go through this? I can't remember. I think I did. Excuse me. Yeah, so this dragon was a whole lot of work. But I'm so pleased with how it turned out. I did still want to do iron bars to kind of link up the wings to make up that there were actual wings, and I never did get around to doing that. So that's a little disappointing. Might try to see how it would look at some point, because I do have a version of this in my single player world, kind of my test world. And so inside here is where all of the actual stuff happens for the blacksmith. And then they have the blacksmith shop. And so we went in here and we created this nice little blacksmith shop. I wanted to do lots of different angles, and so I was pleased with how that turned out. The staircase, this took a lot of work to try to figure out the staircase up. And this is the most extensive interior designing that I've done. But I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It really showcases everything that I wanted it to showcase. It has a vibrant amount of colors, which I just absolutely love. We added this little area here just to have some type of closet. I needed just a little bit more space, so we took this and added it to our build after everything was done. Just to have that little jet out is really great too. And so the exterior turned out fantastic. Our little deck here leads both ways and leads to the stairs over here. And in the end, I think it turned out fabulous. I love the look, and in fact, this might be similar to what I do on the server going forward. One of the things I will do is, again, make sure we work on layout of the city and be much more determinate of how big things will be. So I know going in, this is going to be probably the smallest size of any of the builds. So this is going to be considered small. And from there, I will know better scale. Like if I considered this large at the time, right? I considered this large, and then I thought this was fairly big. And then seeing them next to each other, should have been much, much bigger. But I felt kind of overwhelmed and felt the constraints of the amount of time I had to dedicate towards something that I didn't have the time to make it as big and as bold and as beautiful as I think I would have wanted it to. But this was my first statue I ever did, the dragon, that I've ever done. And so I'm really pleased with how it turned out. The lava coming down, the fact that it's exactly perfect for a blacksmith. Really, really love that. So this as the blacksmith home really shows that the dragon should have been much, much larger. And then down here, this is where he stores all the ores that he uses to create the iron goods that he makes, and all the coal. And then if we come all the way down here, we have drum roll. Yeah, see, we're not doing stairs next time. We have the automated furnace, which I had not done this amount of redstone in my life. So between this and some of the other, the chicken farm, lots and lots of redstone. Oh, I have this little place where you can, I had dug down and done some more mining. So there are some ores in here, lots of coal, which was needed for here, a single furnace in case I needed it and something really quick. And then the extensive furnace array for smelting, for fuel. And yeah, I think I would have liked to have been able to spend more time making this probably bigger and grander. But I was really going off of somebody else's design. And so that will be my lesson for next time, is how to take somebody's redstone design, but to integrate it the way I want to, and then to decorate it the way that I think would match my style. And then last but not least, as we head up here, as far as for my town, the last portion is what we just have been working on, which is the cattle farm. And it's unfortunate that I'm not going to be able to get to finishing this. But I was going to do a wall similar to the wall that we made over for the chicken farm. And I really like how that wall is. In fact, we might have even incorporated a portion of it for this area. And then the barn. And I've had some other suggestions about things that I could have done, but I was going off of some pictures of what really was the shape of a medieval barn, and as far as what they would use. And this is pretty similar to what that would be. The difference is I would probably need to make this a hip roof right at this very top, where it would go back a little rather than staying at the same plane as this. So it would just kind of have a small dip back towards the center of the whatchamacallit, of the roof. There we go. Words. And so we had these added for some dimension, so that it wasn't just a plain flat roof. So we have the nice little gables here that you could come and look out. We made the upstairs, and you can hear the horses. So this might have been an area where we could have brought some horses in. But again, going to scale, this was meant to be smaller. You can see this is actually fairly large compared to my initial build. And in comparison, size-wise, in comparison with the dragon. And yet this is actually, again, a small build. So going back to, if this is considered a small build, this is a tiny barn. And you can tell because I don't have that many animals in here. So it is getting a really good understanding of size and of scale. And I think that's what I've learned most out of my year on the Just Vanilla server. In trying to build things, is that I need to really work on that, and I need to get better at that. But I appreciate being able to have the opportunity to play on here, to get to know people, to have access to resources that I otherwise wouldn't. If I was doing this as a single player on my own, I would have never been near an ocean monument, so I wouldn't have been able to have access to the sea lanterns. So there's a lot of things. And the last piece, since it is a part of my curse, the curse of the reset, is my Nether Tunnel. I still am so pleased with how this turned out. It is beautiful. It is the perfect colors that match. You expect when you go from here into my city, you're not surprised by the use of acacia and a lot of the stone. I love the green. Green is my favorite color, so of course I wanted my place to be green as a way to start. And then utilizing the exact same layout as the Nether portal as my entrance. Couldn't have been happier. Just because it's where I want to end up, is where we all began on the server, is spawn. But I did want to say thank you to every single person on the Just Vanilla server, whether you've been over to my base, however often you've watched my videos. Some of you haven't, but I think most of my viewers right now have come from the Just Vanilla server. So I appreciate all of you. This was an experiment, not only in my building, but in doing YouTube. I had wanted to do YouTube for a long time, and never got around to it. And when I got onto the Just Vanilla server, I was kind of thinking about it. I do want to say special shout out to Frilioth, because I would never have done this, I think, without watching him do it. And I thought, you know what? It is about time. Maybe it's something that I need to just take the time. How much could it hurt? It couldn't really hurt to do it. And so he kind of inspired me to go ahead and start my own channel. Oh my gosh. These Nether tunnels are so loud. They're so loud. Oh, they broke the Nether tunnel. What? Now I'm way up here. I feel like I've ruined it all. Who in the world broke the Nether tunnel? I have no way back. Because I don't have a thing on me. Oh, I do. I have a flint and steel. Okay, I'm going to break this later on. I don't know who decided to do that. Oh, well. Yeah! Hi. But I wanted to start at spawn, where we ended. This has been the best server. Love the look of spawn. It'll be interesting. They've already determined, or they've got ideas for spawn next time. So I'm looking forward to what that looks like. But the market over here was beautiful. So well done. I think we videotaped. I always show my age every now and then. We recorded when it opened. I was very happy to be a part of that. I think I recorded that. I don't know. I'd have to look back. It's been so long. It's been a year. And I never played the JV games. Maybe next time I'll be more involved in that and maybe do a few recordings of the JV games. There was this extra area. Oh my gosh, not again. Not again. The seasonal area we went and experienced a couple of times. It was a good time. And I am really pleased to have had the chance to be a part of this server and look forward to the reboot and the beginning of season 2. Lessons that I'm taking with me, that I've discussed. It's definitely about scale. Need to work on my scale. Need to work on some consistency in styles, and just kind of maybe being a little bit more adventurous and more consistent. But with that, I am going to sign off to the great server of 1.12, and I will see you in 1.13 and season 2. Adios.